Hello everyone, and I don't have any, let's just jump straight into this. So Bitcoin, our target actually got hit of $2,900 per Ethereum. However, so let's just go through all of it. And remember guys that I'm personally trading over on Bybit. So with my exclusive link down in the description of this video, if you're trading with more than $100,000, you can claim up to a 42% certification, such as for example a driver's license. So shield out of the way, let's discuss what is actually, and even when it comes to ETFs are selling off Bitcoin. Not as much, it was also negative, but it was just because of grayscale. So therefore, Ethereum has a bit more selling pressure. Bitcoin is also standing at a relatively important support of 60K, and we are also retesting. On one hand, it's weakening. On the other hand, it's super bullish and powerful because GDP, as you might remember, came in at 2.14 thousand compared to 175. So really, it has really gone down in terms of the jobs out there, so the payroll. So this is bad. This really is, unfortunately. So this is what it looks like. Every time Fed actually has cut rates, we actually saw a huge devastating crash. Same thing to that spot. So, which is not great at all. Now, besides this, we also have this same rule recession indicator. It actually surged to 0. So this is also adding to the fear. Next thing is that Berkshire Hathaway sells 50% of its Apple holdings, and now it actually is holding 277 billion in cash. So Warren Buffett is getting ready to buy cheap. So we are expecting a big stock market meltdown, and we're already seeing S&P 500 actually taking a crap, and also other indices. I mean, the crash is starting. So that's why, the point here, the core word here is the crash is only starting. So also one more thing that we have is the current escalation in the Middle East, which is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest. Assassination of Hamas leader. So it is not good at all. And the US urges American citizens to leave Lebanon on any ticket available. And I had some friends in Lebanon, like there is crazy stuff happening right now. They're literally running to the airports in Israel as well, Tel Aviv. They're running away. People are running away. They're fleeing because some serious shit is about to go down, possibly. So that's why markets are really scared. And now, so therefore, what happened was the reason why the markets are dumping is because unemployment rate is rising. Japanese yen has been strengthening. Still, the fear of World War III are back. All these fears, and Mt. Gox and Genesis distribution. So everything is pretty bad. Now the question comes in terms of whether we should be scared of this, and then I'm gonna come to the most important conclusion that I'm making. So that's why, guys, watch the video till the end. Should we be worried about this? In my opinion, not. So let me explain. So what I think is more important here is actually the Japanese yen situation than the actual recession, because yeah, we have the possibility of the S&P 500 that it will dump like crazy right now because the Fed is gonna be late to the party with the rate cut yet again. Will we see a crash in the stock market? And that is extremely likely. I think so. That's why Warren Buffett has sold so many things, like so many people have sold and they're holding cash right now to buy more. However, crypto is not the stock market. And please hear me out. This is the most important conclusion here. What I think matters more in this instance is what the Japan is going to be doing, because they have $4 trillion worth of stuff that could be unwinding the trade of zero interest rate trade. So again, remember, Japan was giving out so much money interest free, and now in yen, and now when the interest rates are going up, they're gonna crush everything simply because the people who were holding, and institutions who were holding that yen when they were putting it into different assets, including probably crypto, they will be dumping it. So, and it's 4 trillion. So it's serious amount. And every time it happened before in history, there were 2 instances before we actually saw a huge crash. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin now, when we saw, again, remember, this is very important for you guys to understand. If you actually pay attention to when it happened. So they actually announced this on the 11th of July. So you'll notice that the crash in S&P 500 started on the 11th of July. This is when Japan started doing it. Now, if you look at Bitcoin, 11th of July is right here. So we actually started pumping because of it. However, does it mean that the pump will continue? Not necessarily. What my opinion here is, so I'm gonna get to the chart in just a second and tell you like what I'm doing with my trade. What I really care about is this. So global liquidity hits the all-time high above 95 trillion. So the cash on the sidelines. So therefore, certainly Fed will pivot in September most likely, especially if the unemployment is going to be going up. We are really going into recession. Short term, everything. So now I'm getting to the conclusion. Short term, everything will crash. Everything. Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, everything will crash. But then I think that S&P 500 and the stocks, etc., they will continue crashing. This is my honest opinion. But Bitcoin, just because of what I just told you, that actually with this situation in Japan, Bitcoin actually pumped. Certainly, again, initial shock will hit everything. And then including even gold possibly. And then the market will reverse on risk of assets or like store of value assets, such as in this instance, cryptocurrencies. And that's why BlackRock is not an idiot. They understand what is happening right now, but they still keep accumulating simply because they do understand what is going to happen to Bitcoin and that it actually will have and still already has the properties of gold and this store of value narrative, which will play out even if everything crashes like crazy. But initial shock will be there. So initially everything will crash. Therefore, I am readjusting my target. Again, guys, take everything with a grain of salt. I could be wrong. God, there's so many, a million gazillion scenarios that tomorrow Fed could come out and say that there is stimulus or Janet Yellen will announce something, buybacks, whatever, and we're gonna just pump from here. Is it possible? Yes. So am I selling any of my crypto? No. Am I out of all of my cryptocurrencies, all the Bitcoin I've been accumulating for the last few years? No. Am I selling all of my Ethereum? No. Am I selling all of my altcoins? No. I am not. The only thing I'm doing is I'm reducing leverage and exposure on my Ethereum long trade. I know I told you that I would rather be increasing my long here, right here in this position, and this is what I've expected and I really wanted to do it. However, in light of everything we're saying, the situation is pretty horrible. And honestly, it is getting worse by the day with all these news. And certainly some of it is already priced in, but I would not be surprised for us to go lower. Honestly, on Bitcoin, I would not be surprised as a shock therapy, you know, just short-term pain. I would not be surprised for Bitcoin to revisit something like 52K. Really 52, maybe even 48, 49 in this vicinity, I would not be surprised. So the same thing with Ethereum. I would not be surprised to see Ethereum go down. I'll just mark it here, the bottom of this vicinity, somewhere here, like 2,500 per ETH. I would not be surprised. So this would be the area from about 2,400 to like 2,600. This would be the box right here. I'll just leave it where I would be really interested in scaling my trade. So instead, what I did, because I wanted to scale it at 2,900, but something is telling me that we're probably going to go lower, honestly. So therefore, I'm not selling anything, but I did deleverage the trade a tiny bit. So I deleveraged it right up here at like 3K because I increased the trade also at 3K from 1.5 million to 2.3 or 2.4 million. I've increased it right here, as you might remember. So I closed a portion of it with zero, basically. So I didn't lose anything on that increase. So therefore, I saw the chance to actually unwind it a little bit, and I did. So therefore, right now the trade, it was 2.4 million. I still keep the long trade. So short term, it will be painful, and it looks a bit painful, but I don't really care. I mean, I'm putting on $1 million on the line for this trade, so like minus 270, but I don't care. It was already minus this, so I don't really care much. But what I care about is that if we do move down to 2,500, 2,600, this is where I'm gonna be going all in. This is where I will make this trade to 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, and 5 million. Just tiny bit lower, just because of everything. This shock will easily bring it down to 2,500, possibly. Could we also, in full disclosure, could we go down to 2,700 and reverse from there? Possibly. So, but I just don't want to risk it. I think it is just smart to reduce it a tiny bit and then start scaling it lower. So just because of everything we're seeing here. So guys, just being absolutely honest, what I see, therefore adjusting a little bit my expectations here because of everything. So we have this cushion that we do crash down a bit. We use it to our advantage, and then the market actually decouples and we go to the moon. So that's just my expectation. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And as always, peace and love. Thomas Quello, stay smart. Stay very rich, which is difficult in these kinds of market conditions, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.